We actually talked about the media center communications budget during Guido's presentation when he was here. But there is 2 people over there that's budgeted out of the communications and media department. And then there's Carl, who's located over there, but he is part of the economic development package. So his FTE is budgeted for in the economic development department located in general fund.
Sure. Council, you're saying then the media center is its own department?
That is correct. In the general fund, you will see the media center as its own department. Media and communications, I believe the department's called.
When we were in the council prior, I don't ever remember that being brought to this council to be authorized to become a department, because it says in our book right here that we have to authorize it. Do you remember it ever being brought?
I remember coming to council the whole process of making it a media center / veterans museum. The biggest thing that we've seen is that peg fees was going to cover to fix up the place and all that. The one thing that we're seeing now is the fee for the payroll.
Correct.
For the 2 employees to run that. But the good thing is Guido is currently looking at that. I don't know if you've been there, but it is a state-of-the-art center, and anybody that comes, will acknowledge that every single time. So Guido is actually going through, and you either have to go to Southfield or you have to go to Detroit to film any sort of commercial or podcast. So we're coming up with a game plan, a fee schedule to start renting that facility out, and we see it as a revenue source, but we're still in the process of getting that, which will cover the payroll, and then eventually, if it's enough, we may be able to bring in a producer that they can actually pay to help do the commercials and professionally done and stuff. But anybody that has been anywhere else said that the other 2 that are close to here don't even compare to that facility.
I'm just still wondering if that was ever authorized to be a department, because it says in the charter, council shall have the power and authority to establish, create, and eliminate such other commissions and departments when, in its opinion, the proper administration of the business and interest of the city is required. I never remember us voting to make that a power.
I can't either.
I mean, if we did, I'd sure like to see it in writing, because otherwise we never authorized it.
Through the chair, if we did, I think it would have been through the budget, maybe.
I don't know if it's budgeted separately from a charter definition perspective. Does that define it as a department? It's a good observation, Mr. Remick. I think it's budgeted as an entity, but I don't know if by charter definition it's a department. And I would agree that I don't ever recall as a council member voting to create a new department. I'm just not sure I'm making the leap from it being budgeted separately that by charter definition that means it's a department.
I think we would need to go to full council to find out, because we didn't a new department. That was the whole thing back when I worked here, when they eliminated the department I was in, the grounds. The administration can't do that.
Right.
They did.
Through the chair, yeah, at that point, we'll look for that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, going back to the different folks that did Taylor Expo over the years, I think it was always kind of part of economic development, right? That's kind of, the role of the same thing. I think probably Carl maybe at some point in time.
Through the chair, I think when we went at the budget, Carl has been a part of that, but the other 2 employees, we just decided to put in its own line item. So, but the council, we'll get corporate council to look at that.
Okay, so back to my question about, so they feel that, so like when I was here before, we couldn't even have a Taylor Expo because we couldn't afford it. So we jumped from that to getting a whole media center and 3 employees and a movie studio, and I'm just like, I just don't understand. I mean, the IT used to push a button and turn I know that we needed new equipment. I knew that was a big expense that we needed, but, it wasn't, $300,000 you know, or however many it is for all the people in there. And so can you tell me, what do they do on a daily basis? What's their duties? That they field the email, and what else? I mean, it can't be, I don't see that many things on TV that I'm seeing.
Well, there's always stuff in the works, you know, like there's, I think he said they did I don't know, I'd have to get with Carl, but I know there was a couple of things that they did this week, so there's editing involved, and, but as far as writing, so, I don't know.
I don't want you to guess, I'm sorry, I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No, you're fine. I mean,
Anticipate
it's
that.
just, you know, the biggest thing is to build that place really costs us nothing. So,
What,
you know,
about $4 million?
well, we used the pig fees to do that, which we have a large abundance for, and the previous administration said, hey, why don't we use this money to recoup this, because it's not just a media center, it's a storage center for the clerk's office, it's a new home for the Taylor Museum, or
It's a bond, all right?
I think they did bond it, yeah.
It was bonded and voted on by a majority of city council through the prior administration.
But it wasn't like a pile of money sitting there and like, let's use it for this. We're bonded it. So it's not like we had this extra money, said, hey, why don't we do this? You know, so it's like, it was a conscious decision.
By a
But
majority
meanwhile,
of the prior council,
I
correct?
know, I heard you say that. But I'm just saying that meanwhile, you know, we got 50 left police officers and, you know, and I just don't understand how we're talking about movies and people knocking on people's doors. I mean,
Through the chair,
I
your
just don't
police
understand.
officers is a total, and we'll have to go, but we can't really, we're trying to get police officers
I
here,
understand.
but everybody is. So
Right.
there's not an abundance of them out there. Over the last 8 years, we've saw social media and email, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, everything you can think of, Instagram. That's today. And that's what we're trying to do. We kind of looked at, Westland does a great job at it, and they have a facility like that. It's not like ours, I will say that. But we're trying, that's how people are getting their information. And that's what we're trying to do.
Taylor info, you have it on the meetings, they're
But
televised.
younger people don't look at the Taylor info a lot of times.
They look at our
They
website.
look at, well, they're looking at their phones, so they're looking at websites, they're looking at Instagram, Facebook, you know. So that's one of the things we have to try to get on there and get that on there so people get their information quicker, because that's what they want now. And we have to make sure that it's good information, because that's another thing we have to fight on a regular basis as well.
So, when I was here before, we didn't even have a call center yet, and now we have 11, 12 people in the call center. So to think that our citizens don't have an avenue to reach out to us, I'm having a hard time
To
with
the
that.
chair, though, when you knock on doors, you know as well as I do, people don't like the call center. I don't either. But this year, we're not in a situation where we can do much about that. So people want to be able to call DPW. People want to be able to call the clerk's office directly. And that's the goal of my administration, to get us there. Unfortunately, it's going to take a little longer than I want.
I didn't have any complaints about the call center. I think the call center is a great thing, because when I can remember when I was on there, the complaints I got were that the phones would ring into the departments and nobody was answering. So it would be like, you know, kiss of death. I mean, you know, you call, you get transferred, and then you're all done. You might get a call back in a few days, so I think that is definitely better.
Staffing it will help it, but I think...
I just, in terms of wrap-up, but I did want to
No,
get through.
Mr. Vice, no. I am talking about something that's important to me, and I'm going to be heard. I'm sorry, this is a study session, this is my study session.
All right,
Okay, this is
I'm just
my
trying to
budget.
get through the budgets.
I know you are, but you know, there's a lot of time, Doug, that you talk, and I would like to have my say on
All right.
this. This is important to me.
But can we get through the budgets and do that?
This is the budget. This is the budget that we're talking about. We're talking about the mayor's office, and I'm talking about,
Everything else.
no, I'm talking about how,
You're going to everything else.
excuse me, can I finish my thought, and then you talk after I'm done?
Okay, well,
Okay?
yeah, that's
So-
all it's been for an hour now.
Thank you. Okay, I'll cut you off when you're talking next, okay?
Okay.
I'm just saying that, what I'm trying to say is that we're on the mayor's department, and we're talking about the things that he has in his office, and I was just pointing out the other avenues we have within the city to get some of the same things done. And you may not agree, Mr. Johnson, and you may not agree, Mr. Geis, or whatever, that's just the questions that I'm asking, and I wasn't here, so I'm asking, what do the people do?